the Atlanta Braves explode and take Game 3 against the Miami Marlins by a score of 9-1, led by Austin Riley, Dominic Smith, and of course, Chris Sale. Isn't life just so much easier, all sunshine and rainbows, when the Braves actually give Chris Sale run support? Because he'll start out in LA, and then last week against the Cubs, he gave you gems of an outing. Against the Dodgers, it's one thing. I think the Braves put a lot of balls in play, hit them pretty hard. They just didn't fall the way that they would have liked, and they came out the rest of the series and showed that. Against the Cubs, though, started a bit of a prolonged trend of just not being able to hit the baseball well. And tonight, the Braves come out and give their ace 9 runs of run support. And it all started in the second inning. They were down 1-0. Chris Sale gave up back-to-back hits and then a sacrifice fly, and that was able to score the lone fish run of the game. After that, it was all Atlanta. Austin Riley with a 3-run home run, absolutely torched off the bat, and he gave the Braves the permanent lead. He was able to score Ozzie Albies and Mauricio Dubon. From there, pretty quiet. They were a few base runners, but the Braves were actually out hit for much of this game until the 6th inning when everything kind of came up Atlanta. So Matt Olson comes up to bat with Acuna and Michael Harris on base, 2 speedy guys. And this was after Michael just blooped one into left field. Acuna just hauling butt. I guess his calf feels pretty good. And an excellent swim move slide. And he is able to get from first to third on a ball that barely made it to the outfield. So that is vintage Ronald Acuna Jr. base running. Michael moves up to second. And then Olson just hits a ball really, really hard. Able to score. Ronald actually hit way too hard to score Michael all the way from second, even though it was hit to right field. But after that, with Ozzie was able to bat in Michael Harris, and after all of that was said and done, Dominic Smith comes up to bat with runners on the corners, and he scores. Or he hits one of the best at-bats. We'll start with the at-bat. One of the best at-bats you will see all year long. A 12-pitch at-bat that he saw everything, every bit of junk that Mr. Junk had to offer, that Mr. Jensen Junk had to offer. Proud of the pun. And he starts off, he gets the changeup for the first 2 pitches, 3 of the first 4 pitches, sees a sweeper, but after the initial ball just low of the zone, he gets changeup, sweeper, changeup, and then finally sees the fastball. Fouls 3 of those off after swinging through the second changeup he saw. Lays off a slider to make it 2-2. Then more foul balls. Got the changeup again, got the fastball again. Jansen's throwing him everything that he has to offer. A sweeper lays off, brings the count full. And then 2 more fastballs, a changeup at 87 and a fastball at 96. And finally, the one pitch he had not seen the entire at-bat. Dom Smith knew it was coming. It was a curveball that just hung up in the zone, even though it got to the lower half of the zone. Dom Smith was ready, hit it 100 miles an hour off the bat, 393 feet, cleared the wall onto the hill outside of right center field. So, excellent at-bat for Dom Smith. People will study that at-bat, I think is what Wiley Ballard said. Just an absolute missile and perfect 2-strike approach for the entire at-bat. Just see as many pitches as possible, keep fouling it off, keep staying alive with runners in scoring position, and he did more than stay alive. Dominic Smith puts one over the fence in Miami, and that really blew this game open. It was 8-1 at that point. That was was going to be it for the scoring, except for Dominic Smith did the impossible. And I know that this was originally scored an error. They've now given it a triple and an error. But Dominic Smith hit an inside the park home run. And honestly, if he had just kept running through the stop sign at third, he probably would have been just credited with the inside the park home run. Just an absolute fielding disaster for Miami. You have two outfielders collide, Ruiz and someone else, the center fielder collide there, or the right fielder, collide, which was kind of ironic considering it was very near where Ronald Acuna Jr. had his injury. And I think I even said, do you like jazz? But I'm glad everyone was okay. But the throw-in, horrendous, no one cuts it off. Dom just realizes that the ball is rolling through the infield with no one near it and takes off and belly flops on to home plate. So Dominic Smith with, on paper, at least a one home run night, the triple to go with it. He did get, in my book though, 2 home runs tonight. One the old-fashioned way, and one the same way he probably did a few times in Little League. So that wraps up the scoring for tonight. 9-1 Braves. And after the Braves shelved these Navy jerseys because they got blown out in them one time, they brought them back yesterday after the blowout on Monday. And they have now scored 17 runs in the Navies. So I expect to probably see the Navies again tomorrow. But this team just thrives on vibes. They absolutely go out there and every single day, if they get any sort of momentum, they know how to capitalize on it. And so we were talking about 2 days ago, the sky was falling. You give up 12 runs and you lose arguably your best hitter for the entire year. Definitely at a premium position. You could not afford to lose Drake Baldwin, and the Braves are put up 2 of their best offensive nights in the past month without Drake Baldwin in the lineup. So it's a funny thing. Like I mentioned, this team, even without, that's a crazy ESPN alert. Just got the Ed Orgeron back to LSU alert. So we're going to continue on like that didn't happen, but that's insane. But now that Acuna is back, even with him not hitting living up to his potential so far, he adds a brand new dynamic to the lineup. He got another hit tonight and another run. So he seems to have made some adjustments to his swing while he was on the injured list, and hopefully he can get back to doing Ronald Acuna Jr. things here soon. I also wanted to talk about Michael Harris had a 2-hit night. Eli White with his one at-bat in relief of Ronald Acuna Jr. in the blowout. Want to just get him off of his feet. He had a hit as well. Matt Olson had one. Ozzie Albies needed a good night, and he gave you a good night. 2 hits, 2 runs, and an RBI for the Braves' second baseman. Dominic Smith, 2 hits, obviously, the home run and the inside the park home run. Dubon had a good night at short. He made a few defensive gaffes early in this game, but recovered, had a hit. Austin Riley with his home run. And Austin Riley, I wanted to talk about him because he's still been kind of the butt of the joke a little bit of just underperforming to start this year. If you look at just his stats in the month of May, because this is something that I wanted to look at, he has a 254 batting average, which isn't going to blow anybody away, but 301 on base percentage, 507 slugging. He has an OPS of 808 in the month of May, and I think that there's still a lot of room to improve for Austin Riley. 5 home runs this month, 2 doubles, 17 hits, and 67 at-bats. So Austin Riley is definitely starting to put it together. It's just where does this end? Is this his ceiling for this year, or will he continue to improve on what he has been doing for the past 20 days or so? So I think Austin Riley just really, I think he's been through a lot. He lost his mentor a few years ago, not really been the same player ever since, dealt with several injuries. And then this year he comes out on fire at spring training. But by the time that the games actually start to count and matter, he is on a prolonged cold streak. So I think that's extremely unfortunate for Austin, but it seems like he's finally starting to dig his way out of the hole. I wanted to give you what an 808 OPS looks like over a full season, and that would qualify him, according to Baseball Reference, this season as the 50th, tied for the 50th best hitter in baseball. So, adjusting for his position, he would be about a 130-ish OPS plus type of reliever or type of hitter. So about 30% better than league average, which Austin Riley, you want him to be a little bit better than that, but that's still perfectly serviceable. Riley, especially with where he's hitting now in the 5-hole, the 6-hole, if you can be 30% better than the league average hitter, he will do very well, and this team just gets deeper and deeper. And eventually, you hope at least you'll add Drake Baldwin back to this lineup, and all things will continue to come up. Braves. The Braves will go for not the sweep, but the series win tomorrow. They will have Spencer Strider on the mound. But before I talk about Spencer Strider, I've got to give credit to Chris Sale, who, like I mentioned, the last few times he has been out, he has been amazing for the Atlanta Braves, but leaves both the game against the LA Dodgers and the Chicago Cubs with a loss, the lone losses of both of those series. So if you had told any Braves fan that you would lose one game of the Dodgers series and one game of the Cubs series, I don't think either of them would have told you it would be the Chris Sale start. And somehow that happened. I don't think he was outpitched in either game. I mean, maybe the game 3 against Chicago, he was outpitched a little. But I just thought that the Braves got unlucky against the Dodgers and just went flat against the Cubs. Tonight, they give him the run support he desperately needed, and Sale improves his ERA to 1.89 on the season. 7-3 is his record. And tonight, he was just fantastic. The slider was working. The fastball was working. He is putting up, right now at least, on pace for the statistical best season against right-handed hitters by a left-handed pitcher in history. And we think of Chris Sale as being a lefty killer, is just the absolute guy you do not want to face as a left-handed pitch or hitter. And so you see a lot of teams, they stack their lineup with righties whenever Chris Sale comes up. The Phillies have done it against the Braves. Several teams, in fact, have done it against the Braves, but the Phillies are typically the world's worst about it. And Chris Sale doesn't care. He is historically good at striking out and just getting righties out from with his left arm. So Chris Sale, on historic pace, lowers his ERA down to 1.89. He is absolutely in the Cy Young conversation, and he might not even be the best pitcher the Braves have right now. So I know that's a little bit heresy to say, considering that the other option is Bryce Elder, at least if we're talking about starters, because I think Raisel Iglesias and Dylan Lee and Robert Suarez would be in that conversation as well. But my goodness, Chris Sale has been everything you could possibly dream of and more whenever Atlanta made that trade, Von Grissom to the Red Sox to get Chris Sale. He's already won one Cy Young. He was a Cy Young caliber pitcher last year before he got himself injured. And he's on Cy Young pace yet again this year. So it's a little early to even begin talking about it, but I mean, 10 decisions in, 1.89 ERA. Chris Sale is, even at his advanced age, and I say that kind of tongue-in-cheek, because he could pitch for a good while longer if he really wants to. He is still elite. One of the top 5 pitchers in baseball at the moment, which is kind of crazy to say. Maduros makes his debut as a Brave. Actually, going over Sale's line, 7 innings pitched, 4 hits given up, 1 earned run, no walks, 8 strikeouts. Absolute pure and domination. Like I said, 2 of those hits came in the first. The sacrifice fly was able to put the run on the board for Miami. After that, nothing doing. Only gave up 2 base runners for the last 6 innings he was in this game. Incredibly efficient. Maybe if a few things go his way, he may get another inning, but no need to stretch him out. Already up 9-1. Gave the bullpen much needed length, especially considering you had to use your big 3 last night and Didier Fuentes last night. So Victor Maduros comes in and cleans up the rest of the Marlins lineup for 2 innings. Walked 1, no strikeouts, but also no hits given up and no runs either. So the Braves get some much needed length out of Sale. Maduros fills in 2 innings for you. And so you should have the entire bullpen at your disposal as you chase a series win tomorrow down in Miami. Like I mentioned before, the Braves will have Spencer Strider on the mound tomorrow. 1-0 record, 2.45 ERA, 18 strikeouts. Deserved a win against the Cubs and the Red Sox when he went out last. Aaron Bummer gave up a home run that screwed him in the win column, but his last 3 games, Strider did not pitch against the Cubs. I'm thinking of Bryce Elder, which is, once again, kind of insane to picture those 2 in your head together. But last time out against Boston, gave you 5 1/3, only 3 hits, 1 earned run, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts. Strikeout numbers weren't there for Strider, and he walked a few too many, but I expect to see vintage Strider tomorrow against the Miami Marlins to attempt to close this series out. And Strider will face former Cy Young pitcher Sandy Alcantara, right-handed pitcher, so you'll see the Braves roll out their traditional lineup. 3-2 on the year, 3.53 ERA with 45 strikeouts. Sandy seems to be fully healthy from everything that I can gather. His last time out, he threw a gem. Despite giving up 7 hits, he went 6 innings, gave up no walks, no runs, and struck out 6. So we might get ourselves a classic Braves-Marlins 1-0 ball game tomorrow. And that would be kind of a different vibe than what we've gotten in the series so far, where we've gotten 3 blowouts. And despite defeating the Braves 12-0 on Monday in Game 1, the Braves have evened the run differential at 17 through 3 games. So even when spotting the Marlins a 12-run lead, you might catch them in the run differential. With a win tomorrow, you will. So that's all I have to say about the game tonight. Gone about 20 minutes. If you made it this far, why don't you tell me this? Do you like the recap with no outline, no overlay with the graphics, or would you prefer me to make the graphics and the overlay and control it? I like this format a little bit better, kind of, because it allows me to just freeform. I don't have to worry about controlling the graphics. I can just kind of scroll around, make sure I'm getting stats right, and all of that. So I get to deliver you, in my opinion, a better quality show, even if it doesn't look as good. But I'll go with whatever you think, and I'll put the question down below. But I'm Caden, and until next time, peace up, A-Town down, and keep on chopping.